Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Espero que todos estén muy bien, todos y todas. Yo soy Ana Paula Domínguez, fundadora y directora del Instituto Mexicano de Yoga desde el 2002. Y estamos hoy en una transmisión más rumbo a la edición número 21 del encuentro, ahora Encuentro Yoga Wellness, y estamos transmitiendo totalmente en vivo a Facebook, vía Instagram y también vía YouTube. Así que les doy la más cordial de las bienvenidas. El día de hoy vamos a tener una entrevista que será dirigida en inglés con uno de los maestros internacionales que nos va a acompañar a este encuentro de yoga que se llevará a cabo 27 y 28 de julio en el Hotel Hilton Reforma de la Ciudad de México. Mientras tanto, yo le voy a dar la bienvenida a Scott Blossom. Scott ha integrado en su práctica clínica sus ofertas educativas de la medicina tradicional china, el Ayurveda yoga somático y la nutrición basada en evidencia durante más de 25 años. Dice Scott que la experiencia le ha enseñado que el único secreto para la salud no es un qué, no es un producto o una práctica específica, sino cómo adaptar lo que estás haciendo para que siga siendo potente y ágil a lo largo de los días y las estaciones de tu vida. My dear Scott, how are you? Welcome here.
Good, thank you. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, you too. You are at the moment in San Francisco?
Sí.
That's good. So I'm very excited that you are coming to Encuentro de Yoga again. I think it's going to be your third time, right?
Yes. Yeah. It could be the
super
fourth,
exciting.
actually. Could be
Fourth, actually, I think. Fourth. So this year, as you know, we did a shift in the program of the Encuentro, and we really try to incorporate more like health, yoga and health, no, which is what we are needing as humans.
Mm.
And I would like you to know, to tell us, what do you think we are needing as humans at this present moment after pandemic and everything that is going on in humanity?
Well, that's a huge question. From a health perspective, the biggest thing I think that was revealed in the during the pandemic and now is around mental health. And that is to say that especially when you look at mental health through the lens of Ayurveda, you understand how food carries consciousness. You understand how what you do with your exercise, what you do with your rejuvenation and your rest, and what you do, of course, in learning how to communicate, how to be in relationship with other people and with the natural world, and that all of those things contribute to your mental health.
Yeah, I totally get that, my dear Scott. And do you think at this time and moment we are all like vata aggravated? Like, why are we needing more to take care of our mental health?
Partly I do agree. I think that at the moment that, especially for people who live in cities and in the West in general, we've made a cultural agreement that speed is good. And so whenever you're living a really fast life, you will very often aggravate vata dosha. And so it dysregulates your nervous system. And but we're also living through that same cultural worldview also makes it so for a lot of us, we're not having a chance to be involved in ritual settings where we honor our ancestors, where we honor the unseen world, where we are in community, where we're allowed to, for example, express very deep grief or deep anger or any of the feelings that are really sometimes feel much too big to handle on our own. And that for many of us, I think that the yoga community and the Encuentro is about having a place where we can go and be around people that share a similar worldview that is in many ways a kind of, alternative to what mainstream culture is, thinks is normal or presents as normal.
I agree totally with you, Scott. And I would like to know, what are you teaching? You're teaching two workshops and one fire ceremony. I would like to talk about the first one, which is emotions and Ayurveda. If you can tell us a little bit what people can expect of this workshop you will be teaching, Scotty.
Yeah, so when you look at Ayurveda through the lens of psychology, there's three basic teachings around what produces a state of balance and what will produce a state of imbalance or even disease. And those go along with, in Sanskrit, the terms are Daiva Vyapashreya, Yukti Vyapashreya, and then Sattvavajaya. And they respectively relate to the level of working with the body. And so Yukti Vyapashreya has to do with how we look at mental health through the lens of the 5 elements and the 3 doshas and the things that help those. And then the Sattvavajaya really focuses in on the way we use things like meditation and mantra practice and things that are more internalized language to work with the mind. And then that last category, Daiva Vyapashreya, is it has its root in the term for divinity. So it's the way you work with things that are unseen, things that are out of your control. And that's where you start getting into things like rituals, which actually leads naturally to, the reason we're going to sit for a fire ceremony is because the oldest ritual in the yoga tradition is fire ritual. And that is combined usually with meditations, mantra, etc., as a way to bring us into relationship with reality at a deeper level, and equally as important, to do so in community.
That's true. And what are we gonna do in the fire ceremony? Like what can we expect of it?
The fire ceremony mostly involves creating an external flame. And in this case, we'll have to work with the hotel to figure out what they're capable of doing. But at the very least, we'll be working with candles, something where we can actually focus on light. And as you focus on light, the light becomes the portal to carry your prayers to where you want them to go. So we'll be working with mantra, with kirtan. So it'll be a mixture of chanting and then singing as a group. That'll be the main thing that we do in that practice.
That's amazing. That's going to be on Saturday in the night. Super exciting. Yeah. And then you will be teaching the last workshop, which is about marmas, yoga, and Ayurveda. Can you explain us a little bit about what are the marmas? Maybe people doesn't know, so we can.
Sure. Yeah, the marmas are literally defined as these vital points, these points in the body where the circulation patterns, the muscular patterns, the tendons, the joints, nerves, and then also even subtler levels of circulation of prana coincide in a way that when they're flowing, they're very strong supports to health. And when they become blocked or distorted, that they actually are places that will weaken us and make us vulnerable to injury. And so in the practice of yoga, ideally your yoga practice will be something that will remove marma by opening up circulation through your whole body at the physical level, at the subtle level. And then simultaneously, if you come into the practice and you have some kind of imbalance or some kind of therapeutic needs, that by understanding the marma system and the way that the points are laid out on the body, it allows you to not only attend to an area that may need healing or therapeutic attention, but it also gives you a whole body map about how one part relates to the other, so that you can actually support the healing of different parts of your body in a variety of practices. So that's kind of a definition of Marma. And then the class is going to take us, it's going to be very practical, because Marma is an experiential science. You work with it from the experience within your body. So I'm going to be doing that within a yoga class, and helping people to hold a certain perspective on what it feels like to have things circulate in an ideal way, or in a healthy way, as opposed to when something feels blocked. And as we all know from yoga practice, you could make a very subtle shift in your positioning and have it make a giant change in your experience. And that's a good example of when you open something, when you're clearing Marma.
So it's exciting, because you will teach the theoretical part of the marmas, and then we'll take it to the body in the practice.
Exactly.
Oh, that's super exciting, Scotty. And Fer is asking, how can you describe the relationship between yoga and Ayurveda? Is it necessary to practice both?
Yeah, so that's a big question, but it is also to say that what you could say is that the nexus point between Ayurveda and yoga, the nexus is prana. So everything that all the lifestyle and the dietary practices that we utilize in Ayurveda are supportive of the health of your prana. The yoga practices, their foundation always is to make the circulation of prana improve. But then the yoga practices also take us into contemplating death. They take us into contemplating the unseen world and the spiritual basis for the prana. So in some ways, Ayurveda takes us from prana towards the manifestation of life, like our bodies and the health of our bodies. And yoga takes us from the manifestation of prana towards spirituality and mortality.
Well, that's amazing, Scotty. So we are super excited to have you in Mexico City in the next month, almost, Scotty. It's almost a month that we will be here.
I know.
Super exciting. I don't know if at this point, with all these mental issues, and this is going to be like my last question to you, what could be your recommendation, your suggestion, to really start grounding ourselves and our minds, especially, no? So something that has helped you in this time that we are over all the time in our cell phone. I actually heard that there's like a dementia, digital dementia, no? Because of all these times that we're spending, no, in our telephones and in this rush of life. Would you would be willing to share us some suggestions?
Yeah, from the Ayurvedic perspective, the most healthful thing that we can practice in the yoga tradition is mantra practice for the mind. In fact, the word itself, mantra, is a conjunction which means something that is placed in the mind and something that protects the mind. Both of those translations are accurate for mantra. And then another piece that I feel like, with the comment, an example you gave about cell phones, is that cell phones give us the virtual experience of connecting to others, but not the actual experience. And so things like community service, things like gathering your friends and your family, making sure that you're getting a lot of time with people connecting in 3 dimensions. I went to an event just a week ago to help clean up this big area that had been kind of trashed, and a lot of people from the community came to it, and we were all different, but it was so beautiful to be, in that environment where we were all contributing our love and our positivity to this environment. And I just know I felt great for the rest of the day. And so that would be another, those are 2 good examples in your home practice, your meditation, to make sure to include mantras that are resonant for you, and then also to do service work.
Thank you so much, Scotty.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for your time in this interview, in this little talk. I'm super excited to see you soon. And I don't know if you want to finish with something, some invitation or something you want to tell us. We're so excited to have you in Mexico, really.
No, the only thing I can think of is that, I remember years ago when I was getting busier and busier with my clinical practice here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I went to the Encuentro, and it was the last traveling agreement I had made. And I loved it so much that that's why I've been back and I've continued and I've taught in Mexico City. So, in some ways, I hope that everybody loves the Encuentro as much as I do, because it's such a beautiful event and it's such an incredible community that shows up for it.
Thank you so much, Scotty.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful day out there in San Francisco.
Thank you. Yeah, you too, in Mexico.
Maybe we can see the two of us together for the end, Fer, before he says goodbye. I don't know, Fer, where she went. Anyway. Well, I think, Fer, are you there? I think she might be, something happened. But okay, thank you so much, Scotty. I send you big love, all my love to you, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I see you very, very soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Okay, so we are here again, and let's see what happens. Maybe I don't know where Fer is. Oh, they cut the light, but maybe you just need to go out, and my image will come. Let's see.
Do you mean you want me to change?
Just put or just, leave the transmission.
Leave the transmission. Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so pues ya estuvo la conversación tan increíble que tuvimos con Scott Blossom, uno de los maestros que va a estar en el próximo encuentro de yoga y wellness que se va a llevar a cabo 27 y 28 de julio. Es un evento al cual te puedes registrar en la página encuentroyoga.com. Y pues este encuentro está patrocinado por Liquid I.V, que es la marca número 1 de polvos para preparar bebidas hidratantes en Estados Unidos, que ya llegó a México. Con un sobre de Liquid I.V obtienes una bebida hidratante, deliciosa, formulada con electrolitos y vitaminas, sin colorantes ni endulzantes artificiales, para restaurar los electrolitos que se pierden durante el ejercicio, el calor, los viajes y las aventuras. Así que yo les invito a que por favor pasen a visitar la página encuentroyoga.com. Quedan muy pocos boletos para que puedan estar con nosotros en este encuentro, en donde también estará presente San Pablo Natural, Isdin y Lululemon, o algunos otros de nuestros patrocinadores. Tendremos expositores, un marketplace con más de 30 expositores y también algunas charlas gratuitas. Que estén muy bien, nos vemos, hasta la próxima.